What separates those who dream from those who achieve? Why do some people, with the same resources, opportunities and even intelligence, rise to the top while others remain stuck? The answer is not luck, and it's not simply talent, it's discipline. Discipline is the invisible bridge between your goals and your achievements. It's the ability to train your mind, control your impulses, and stay on track when distractions try to pull you away. Every great success story, from world-class athletes to legendary entrepreneurs, is built on one truth: mastery of the mind leads to mastery of life. The good news is, discipline is not something you are born with, it's something you can build, strengthen, and perfect. And once you master it, you can apply it to every area of your life: your work, your health, your finances, your relationships, and your dreams. This audiobook is not just about being motivated. Motivation fades. Discipline sustains. Here you'll discover how to rewire your habits, control your emotions, and create the mental toughness that will carry you through challenges and setbacks. Get ready to transform, not just what you do, but how you think, because when you discipline your mind, you open the door to extraordinary success. Chapter 1. The Foundation of Mental Discipline. Discipline begins in the mind. Before it shows up in your schedule, your routines, or your results, it takes root in your thoughts. What you tell yourself daily, how you respond to challenges, and the standards you hold for yourself determine whether you drift aimlessly or move with focused intent. The first step in building discipline is awareness. Too often people operate on autopilot, repeating habits they never consciously chose. They wake up late, scroll through social media, procrastinate, and then wonder why they feel stuck. To discipline your mind, you must interrupt this cycle. Start by observing yourself. Where do your thoughts go when you're tired, stressed, or unmotivated? Do you immediately reach for distractions, or do you redirect yourself back to what matters? One of the most powerful practices is setting mental anchors. A mental anchor is a statement or principle you commit to living by. For example, I finish what I start, or my future is more important than my comfort. By repeating and aligning your actions with these anchors, you train your brain to prioritize discipline over impulse. Another key foundation is delayed gratification, the ability to resist short-term pleasure for long-term reward. Countless studies show that those who can delay gratification, even in small ways, end up achieving far greater success. Think of the small choices: saying no to another episode so you can sleep earlier, resisting junk food to stay healthy, or setting aside money instead of spending it immediately. Each time you practice restraint, you strengthen your mental muscle. But discipline isn't just about saying no. It's also about saying yes to the right things. Yes to structure. Yes to planning. Yes to habits that create momentum. Imagine your mind as a battlefield. Every day, discipline fights against distraction, comfort, and laziness. The stronger your discipline, the easier it becomes to win. Practical exercises help solidify this. Start your day with a small non-negotiable habit. It could be making your bed, writing a quick plan for your day, or exercising for 10 minutes. This isn't about the task itself. It's about sending your brain a signal: I do what I say I will do. Over time, these small commitments compound into massive results. Discipline of the mind also means mastering your emotions. Fear, doubt, and frustration can derail even the best plan. But when you train yourself to stay calm, to push forward despite discomfort, you unlock resilience. Success doesn't come from avoiding difficulty. It comes from confronting it head-on with focus and strength. Finally, remember this truth: discipline creates freedom. At first, it feels like restriction. like rules and sacrifices. But in reality, it gives you control. The disciplined person has more time, more energy, more opportunities, and ultimately more freedom to live life on their terms. Without discipline, you become a prisoner of impulses, forever reacting instead of leading. With it, you design the life you want. This is the foundation. Discipline your mind, and you set the stage for everything else. Your habits, your decisions, your success. Chapter 2. Building Daily Habits of Discipline. If Chapter 1 laid the foundation for mental discipline, then Chapter 2 is about pouring the concrete, creating daily habits that anchor discipline into your life, so it doesn't depend on fleeting motivation. Discipline is not built in a single day. It's shaped in the tiny, ordinary decisions you make consistently. Why habits matter more than willpower. Most people rely on bursts of willpower to carry them through. They wait until they feel like it, then act. But feelings are unreliable. Some mornings you'll feel inspired, others you won't. Successful people understand that habits are stronger than moods. A disciplined life is not about doing what you want in the moment. It's about doing what you decided beforehand. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't debate it every morning. You don't bargain with yourself about whether today you'll skip it. It's a habit. And because it's automatic, it doesn't drain your energy or decision-making power. Imagine if the most important behaviors in your life, exercising, saving money, focusing on work, learning, were as automatic as brushing your teeth. That is the power of discipline through habit. Start small, scale fast. One mistake many make is trying to overhaul their entire life overnight. They create a list of 20 new habits and expect instant transformation. But discipline thrives on momentum, not overwhelm. The key is to start small, then scale. If your goal is to exercise regularly, don't begin with a demanding 1-hour workout. Start with 5 minutes of movement every day. If you want to build a writing habit, don't expect to produce a novel in a week. Commit to writing 1 page daily. Why? Because the brain resists drastic change, but embraces consistency. Once the habit is established, you can grow it. 5 minutes becomes 20, 1 page becomes 5, and soon the habit is part of your identity. The rule of non-negotiables. To build discipline, decide on a few non-negotiable habits. Actions you will do no matter what, regardless of how you feel. They should be small enough to be realistic, but powerful enough to create progress. Examples include waking up at a set time daily, reading 10 pages of a book every morning, spending 15 minutes on deep work before checking your phone, saving a fixed amount of money each week. These non-negotiables are like anchors. No matter how chaotic your day gets, they keep you grounded in discipline. Over time they compound into extraordinary results. The power of environment in discipline. Discipline doesn't exist in a vacuum. Your environment plays a massive role in shaping your behavior. If your phone is filled with notifications, you'll struggle to focus. If your pantry is stocked with junk food, you'll eat it. If your workspace is cluttered, your mind will be scattered. To build discipline, engineer your environment to make good habits easy and bad habits hard. Place your workout clothes by your bed the night before. Keep a water bottle at your desk to encourage hydration. Block distracting websites during work hours. Create an environment where discipline doesn't require constant willpower. It flows naturally from your surrounding. Identity-based discipline. The deepest level of discipline comes not from what you do, but from who you believe yourself to be. If you see yourself as someone trying to quit procrastinating, discipline feels like a struggle. But if you shift your identity to "I am a disciplined person," your actions align automatically. Ask yourself, Who do I need to become to achieve my goals? If you want to be financially free, you must see yourself as someone who manages money wisely. If you want to be healthy, you must see yourself as someone who prioritizes health. Once your identity shifts, habits reinforce that identity, and discipline becomes part of who you are. Practical exercises for daily discipline. Set a morning ritual. Start your day with 2-3 simple actions that align with your goals. This could be journaling, meditation, stretching, or planning your top priority. Use the 2-minute rule. If something takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. This prevents small tasks from piling up and strengthens your action muscle. Track your habits. Keep a simple habit tracker or journal. Every checkmark reinforces your progress, and the visual momentum keeps you going. Reward discipline, not results. Instead of waiting until you achieve a big milestone, reward yourself for following through daily. This builds positive reinforcement for discipline itself. The long game of discipline. Remember, discipline is not built in a week or even a month. It is the long game. The disciplined person isn't always the one who does the most in a day. It's the one who does what matters, consistently, for years. Small wins compound. Habits that seem insignificant today will define who you become tomorrow. By embedding discipline into your daily habits, you are creating an unstoppable system. You're no longer relying on bursts of motivation or waiting for inspiration. You're training your mind and body to act with consistency, and once discipline becomes your default mode, success in every area of life becomes inevitable. Chapter 3. Mastering self-control in every situation. Discipline is not only about what you do when everything is going smoothly. It is truly tested when temptation, distraction, and chaos enter the picture. Self-control is the battlefield where discipline is either won or lost. In this chapter, we will go deep into how to strengthen your ability to stay steady when life pulls you in every possible direction. Why self-control determines success. Every person has goals, but not everyone achieves them. The difference often lies in self-control. Can you say no to short-term pleasure to achieve long-term gain? Can you resist distraction when you know deep down that focus is the only path to progress? The world is full of instant gratification, social media pings, fast food, on-demand entertainment, quick dopamine fixes. While others are slaves to these impulses, the disciplined person masters them. Success belongs not to the one with the best ideas, but to the one with the ability to control themselves consistently. The science of impulse. Why is self-control so difficult? Neuroscience tells us that two systems in the brain are constantly at war. The limbic system, primitive, emotional, impulsive. It wants satisfaction now. The prefrontal cortex, rational, logical, future-focused. It knows what's best long-term. When you eat junk food, procrastinate, or scroll endlessly online, your limbic system wins. When you push through discomfort to exercise, finish work, or delay gratification, your prefrontal cortex takes the lead. Discipline is the art of training your prefrontal cortex to override impulses. The strategy of delayed gratification. One of the most famous psychological studies, the Stanford marshmallow experiment, proved that children who could delay gratification, waiting for 2 marshmallows instead of eating one immediately, went on to perform better academically, financially, and socially later in life. Self-control is like a muscle. The more you practice delaying gratification, the stronger it becomes. Start small. Wait 10 minutes before indulging in a craving. Resist checking your phone for an hour while working. Push back gratification in small areas, and soon you will be able to delay it in bigger areas. like investments, career choices, and personal growth. The power of rules over decisions. Most people waste energy debating in the moment. Should I eat this? Should I skip the gym? Should I finish this project today? Each debate drains your mental strength. The disciplined person eliminates these debates by creating rules. Rules remove the burden of choice. For example, I don't use my phone until after my morning routine. I write 500 words every single day before checking email. By turning decisions into rules, you protect your energy and strengthen your self-control. You no longer negotiate with your impulses. You live by principle. Handling distractions in a distracted world. We live in the most distracted era in human history. Notifications compete for attention. Social media feeds never end. And entertainment is available instantly. To master self-control, you must build a fortress against distraction. Here are practical tactics. Control your digital environment. Turn off non-essential notifications. Use focus apps or leave your phone in another room while working. Practice deep work. Dedicate uninterrupted blocks of time to one high-value task. Even 1 hour of deep work can outweigh 5 hours of scattered effort. Use temptation bundling. Pair a tempting activity with a disciplined one. For example, listen to an audiobook only while at the gym. Set clear boundaries. Define when and where you work. Relax and socialize. Clear boundaries. Reduce mental friction. The emotional side of self-control. Self-control is not just about fighting distraction or temptation. It's also about regulating emotion. Discipline means keeping calm under pressure, resisting the urge to lash out in anger, and staying patient when things don't go your way. Practical methods to master emotional control. Reframe stress. Instead of seeing stress as a threat, view it as a challenge to grow stronger. Channel emotion into action. Use frustration as fuel to push harder in your work or training. Self-control and energy management. Many people fail at self-control not because they're weak, but because they're exhausted. Your willpower decreases throughout the day as you make decisions. That's why discipline thrives on energy management. Sleep well. A tired brain craves instant gratification. Rest sharpens focus. Eat for stability. Processed foods spike and crash your energy, making you impulsive. Stable nutrition supports consistent control. Move daily. Exercise is not only physical discipline, it strengthens mental resilience too, turning self-control into freedom. Here's the paradox. People think discipline is restrictive, but in truth it's freedom. Without self-control, you are a slave to impulses, cravings, moods, and distractions. With self-control, you are free to choose your path deliberately. The disciplined person is not controlled by a donut, a notification, or a bad mood. They act with intention. They know that short-term sacrifice creates long-term freedom. Financial freedom, time freedom, health freedom, emotional freedom. A self-control framework you can apply today. Identify your triggers. Notice the moments you lose control. Is it late at night? When stressed? Around certain people? Replace. Don't just resist. Don't just fight bad habits. Replace them. Instead of snacking on junk, snack on fruit. Instead of scrolling endlessly, read a chapter of a book. 10 macro restraints. Practice saying no in small ways every day. Skip sugar in your coffee. Resist replying immediately every notification. Or wait 15 minutes before indulging in cravings. Measure your wins. Journal or track moments where you practiced self-control. Celebrate progress. The compound effect of self-control. Think about it. One bad impulse, quitting early, overspending, giving into distraction, can set you back days, weeks, or even years. But one act of self-control repeated daily compounds into massive gains over time. The person who saves instead of spending builds wealth. The person who studies instead of procrastinating gains knowledge. The person who works instead of quitting builds mastery. Self-control is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Master it, and discipline becomes second nature. Chapter 4. The Habits That Forge Discipline. Discipline is not built in a single moment of motivation. It is forged in the small, consistent habits that you practice daily. Habits are the structure on which your entire life is built. If your habits are weak, your discipline crumbles. If your habits are strong, your discipline thrives, and success becomes inevitable. In this chapter we will break down how habits are formed, why most people fail to stick to them, and how you can design your environment, mind, and actions to build habits that make discipline automatic. Why habits are the core of discipline. Think of habits as pre-programmed routines that free up your mind. You don't think about brushing your teeth, you just do it. The same is true for disciplined living. Once discipline is coded into your habits, you no longer need to rely on constant willpower. The problem is, most people unconsciously create weak habits, scrolling on their phones first thing in the morning, skipping workouts, procrastinating on work, or indulging in distraction. Over time, these bad habits shape their lives into mediocrity. But habits can also be your greatest ally. Imagine waking up early automatically, exercising without debate, starting work immediately, and following through on commitments without hesitation. That's the power of disciplined habits. They make success the default. The habit loop, how discipline is wired into your brain. Charles Duhigg, in his book The Power of Habit, explains the habit loop. Routine. The action you take, example drinking water, exercising, checking your phone. Reward. The benefit your brain feels, example, energy boost, dopamine hit, sense of accomplishment. Understanding this loop is essential because discipline is not about forcing yourself forever. It's about designing powerful cues and rewards that lock in good routines until they become automatic. Why most people fail at habits. Most people start with excitement. I'll go to the gym every day, or I'll wake up at 5 a.m. But within weeks they quit. Why? Because they rely on motivation instead of systems. Motivation fades, but systems sustain. Start too big. They try to change everything at once, instead of mastering one small habit at a time. Ignore the environment. They underestimate how surroundings, people, places, even phone apps influence behavior. Don't track progress. What you measure improves. What you ignore fades away. The strategy of keystone habits. Not all habits are equal. Some habits create ripple effects that improve every area of life. These are called keystone habits. Examples of keystone habits. Exercise leads to better sleep, sharper focus, healthier eating, and more confidence. Planning your day increases productivity, reduces stress, and improves time management. Daily journaling builds clarity, self-awareness, and emotional control. Waking up early provides extra time for growth, reflection, and preparation. By focusing on just one keystone habit, you set off a chain reaction of discipline. Stacking habits for maximum discipline. A powerful method for building habits is habit stacking. Attaching a new habit to one you already do. For example, after I pour my coffee, I will review my goals. After I close my laptop, I will write tomorrow's to-do list. This works because your brain already recognizes existing routines. By attaching discipline to them, you create a chain of automatic success. The role of environment in habits. Your willpower is limited, but your environment is always shaping you. If you surround yourself with temptations, you will eventually give in. The disciplined person designs their environment to make good habits easy, and bad habits hard. Practical examples. Keep your phone in another room while working. Place workout clothes next to your bed to make exercise automatic. Hide junk food and keep healthy snacks visible. Keep your desk clean. To eliminate mental clutter. Discipline isn't just about strength. It's about smart design. Morning habits. Setting the tone for discipline. The first hour of your day dictates the direction of the rest of it. If you start distracted and lazy, you'll likely carry that energy forward. But if you start with discipline, everything else follows. A disciplined morning might include starting work on your most important task before checking your phone. This routine becomes a signal to your brain. Today is about focus, growth and achievement. Evening habits. Protecting tomorrow's discipline. Just as mornings set the tone, evenings protect it. Poor nighttime discipline destroys tomorrow before it begins. A strong evening routine may include a. Shutting down screens 1 hour before bed. Journaling or gratitude reflection. Preparing your clothes, tools, or workspace for the next. Sleeping at a consistent time to maximize energy. Great discipline isn't built in the morning. It's built the night before. The role of tracking in habits. What gets measured gets managed. If you don't track your habits, you won't know if you're improving or regressing. Simple tracking methods. Use a habit tracking app. And mark X's on a calendar for each day you complete the habit. Journal progress and reflect weekly. Even small visual wins create motivation to keep going. Building habits that last a lifetime. The goal isn't just to build habits for 30 days or 60 days. It's to embed them so deeply that they become part of your identity. When you say I'm trying to work out, your brain sees it as temporary. When you say I am the kind of person who works out, it becomes permanent. Identity-based habits are the most powerful form of discipline. The key is to link your habits to who you want to become, not just what you want to do. A practical 30-day discipline habit plan. To lock in discipline, here's a 30-day system. Keystone habit. Start small, e.g., morning journaling, daily exercise or no phone for the first hour. Design environment. Remove temptations. Set cues. Use a calendar or app. Review weekly. Ask, did I follow through? Where did I fail? Adjust. Celebrate wins. Reward progress even if small. Stack new habits. Slowly. After 30 days, add another keystone habit. The compounding effect of habits. Habits are not powerful in a day, a week or even a month. Their true strength is seen in years. Reading 10 pages a day doesn't seem like much until you've read dozens of books in a year. Saving a little each day doesn't seem powerful until you've built financial independence. The same is true for discipline. Small disciplined habits compound into extraordinary results. Over time, they don't just build success, they build character. Chapter 5. Mental toughness. The core of unshakable discipline. Discipline begins with habits, but it survives through mental toughness. Habits will get you started, but when life throws obstacles your way, failure, rejection, stress, fatigue, it's mental toughness that keeps you going. Without resilience, discipline breaks the first time the road gets difficult. In this chapter, we'll explore what it truly means to be mentally tough, how to master your emotions, and how to push through resistance when everything inside you wants to quit. The nature of mental toughness. Mental toughness is not about being fearless or emotionless. It's about acting with discipline, in spite of fear, doubt or discomfort. It is the refusal to be controlled by external circumstances or internal weakness. A mentally tough person doesn't wait for life to be easy. They expect challenges, embrace discomfort, and keep moving forward regardless of how they feel. Why mental toughness is rare. Most people are trained from childhood to seek comfort and avoid difficulty. They crave the easy path, instant gratification, quick rewards, and the illusion of safety. But the easy path leads to weakness. Mental toughness is rare because it requires you to delay gratification when everyone else is indulging. Face criticism and failure without folding. This rarity is why those who master toughness achieve extraordinary results while others remain average. The link between discipline and pain. Every act of discipline is an act of pain management. Whether it's resisting junk food, forcing yourself to work on a hard project, or training when you're tired, you are confronting discomfort. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the signal of growth. A muscle only grows by tearing and repairing. The same is true of your mind. Every time you endure discomfort instead of fleeing, you grow stronger. The discipline to know this truth. Comfort is the killer of great. Training the mind to withstand discomfort. Like a muscle, mental toughness must be trained. You cannot simply decide to be tough. You must practice it daily. Practical training methods. Cold showers teaches your body to stay calm under discomfort. Exercise discipline. Push through the last reps when you want to quit. Fasting or delaying gratification teaches control over urges. Controlled challenges. Intentionally take on tasks that stretch your limits. Over time, your tolerance for discomfort rises, and what once broke you becomes routine. Mastering emotional control. Emotions are the greatest enemy of discipline. Fear tells you to stop. Anger makes you reckless. Sadness drains motivation. Excitement tempts shortcuts. But emotions are not facts. They are temporary waves. Mental toughness means acknowledging them but not being ruled by them. Steps to control emotions. Give yourself a moment to respond, not react. Name the emotion. Saying "I feel anxious" separates you from the emotion. Shift focus to action. Instead of drowning in feelings, ask, "What must I do right now?" Stay grounded with routine. Discipline thrives on consistency, even when emotions fluctuate. Coding. The warrior mindset. Every disciplined person eventually develops what can be called a warrior mindset, the ability to face any situation with calm determination. The warrior mindset means seeing obstacles as training, understanding that pain is temporary but quitting lasts forever, accepting that the path to greatness will always be harder than expected, refusing to be shaken by failure, rejection, or delay. This mindset transforms life. Instead of fearing challenges, you start to crave them because they forge your strength. The role of self-talk in mental strength. Your inner voice determines your outer discipline. If you constantly tell yourself "I can't," "It's too hard," or "I'll do it later," you're programming weakness. Instead, mentally tough people use powerful self-talk. As "I can handle this," "Pain is progress," "I don't need to feel like it, I just need to do it." Your self-talk is a weapon. Use it to strengthen discipline, not weaken it. The resilience formula. Endure, adapt, advance. Mental toughness isn't about blind persistence. It's about intelligent resilience. This means knowing when to push harder, when to adjust, and when to move forward strategically. Endure. Push through when others would quit. Adapt. Change methods if your current approach isn't working. Advance. Keep progressing, even if slowly. No matter what, this formula ensures you don't just survive challenges, you grow stronger from them. Though discipline in the face of failure. Failure is inevitable. The question is not if you will fail, but when. Most people collapse at this point. They take failure as proof that they aren't good enough. But mental toughness reframes failure. Failure is feedback, not final. Each failure teaches you what doesn't work, and brings you closer to what will. Disciplined people don't fear failure, they use it as fuel. The connection between purpose and toughness. Mental toughness cannot survive in a vacuum. If you don't know why you're enduring hardship, you will quit. Purpose gives pain meaning. A parent works long hours to provide for their family. An athlete endures brutal training to win championship. A student sacrifices fun to graduate with honors. When your purpose is strong enough, your discipline will always outlast pain. Daily practices to build mental discipline. Morning reflection. Remind yourself of your mission before the day begins. Hard task first. Train your brain to face discomfort early. Micro challenges. Do one thing daily that stretches your limits. Gratitude practice. Keeps perspective when life gets overwhelming. Nightly review. Reflect on where you stayed strong and where you gave in. These rituals slowly rewire your brain to associate discipline with strength and growth. The reward of mental toughness. What do you gain from all this effort? Clarity, confidence, control. The knowledge that you can face life without break. When you are mentally tough, discipline is no longer a struggle. It becomes your natural state. You don't waste energy debating whether to act. You simply act. You don't crumble when obstacles appear. You rise. Mental toughness is not just about surviving, it's about thriving in every environment, no matter how harsh. Chapter 6. Self-mastery. The highest form of discipline. The greatest enemy you will ever face is not the economy, your competition, or even other people. It is yourself. Every battle of discipline is a battle between the weaker version of you that seeks comfort and the stronger version of you that seeks growth. To master discipline, you must master yourself. Self-mastery is the ability to control your thoughts, emotions, habits, and actions in alignment with your greater goals. It is the foundation of true freedom, because until you control yourself, you will always be a prisoner to your impulses. Why most people fail at self-mastery. Most people do not fail because they lack intelligence or opportunity. They fail because they cannot control themselves. They know what to do but don't do it. They allow their emotions to dictate their decision. They are slaves to distractions and instant gratification. They want success, but they serve comfort instead. Without self-mastery, knowledge and talent are wasted. With it, even ordinary people achieve extraordinary results. The layers of self-mastery. Think of self-mastery as 4 interdependent layers. Mastering the body, controlling physical habits like sleep, diet, exercise and energy management. Mastering the mind, directing focus, thoughts, and inner dialogue toward productive outcome. Mastering emotions, managing feelings, instead of letting feelings manage you. Mastering the body, the physical foundation of discipline. Your body is the vehicle of your will. If it is weak, tired, or undisciplined, your mind suffers. Discipline starts with taking control of your physical state. Sleep discipline. Set strict bedtimes and wake-up time. A tired mind cannot focus. Exercise. Train your body to be resilient. Physical strength fuels mental strength. Nutrition. Junk food clouds your clarity. Eating clean sharpens your focus. Energy cycles. Work with your body's rhythms. Do deep work when energy is highest. By mastering the body, you gain the stamina needed to sustain disciplined action. Mastering the mind. The battle of focus. The human mind is naturally restless. Left uncontrolled, it jumps from thought to thought, distraction to distraction. Discipline requires you to tame the mind and direct it with intention. Focus training. Practice concentrating deeply on one task for extended periods. Thought awareness. Catch negative or self-sabotaging thoughts before they spiral. mental rehearsal, visualize success and discipline in action. And information control, limit toxic inputs, news, gossip, social media that weaken focus. A mastered mind is like a laser, powerful because it is focused, not scattered. Mastering emotions. Control the storm within. Your emotions can be your greatest ally or your greatest enemy. Fear can protect you, or it can paralyze you. Anger can drive change, or it can destroy relationships. Discipline requires that you ride the wave of emotions, without being drowned by them. Tools for emotional mastery. Breathing control. Use slow, deliberate breaths to calm the nervous system. Pause and reflect. Create space before reacting to strong feeling. Emotional reframing. Turn setbacks into opportunities for growth. Detachment. Remind yourself that emotions are temporary visitors, not permanent truths. When you master your emotions, you gain power over the one thing that ruins discipline for most people. Mastering purpose. Living with direction. Without purpose, discipline feels like punishment. With purpose, discipline feels like freedom. Self-mastery requires knowing your why, the reason behind your actions. Define what success means to you, not what society dictates. Write down your long-term vision and revisit it daily. Use your purpose as fuel when discipline feels hard. Purpose is the compass that makes every disciplined act meaningful. The trap of self-sabotage. Even highly motivated people often sabotage themselves. They overcommit and then quit. Set unrealistic expectations and burn out. Seek perfection and avoid progress. Distract themselves the moment things get difficult. Self-mastery means catching these patterns early and replacing them with discipline. For example, instead of setting a vague goal like I'll work harder, create a specific habit like I'll spend 90 minutes on my most important task every morning. Self-mastery. Through routines and rituals. The easiest way to master yourself is to reduce reliance on willpower. Routines make discipline automatic. Morning ritual. Begin the day with reflection, planning, and intentional action. Work ritual. Block time for deep, focused work. Evening ritual. Review wins, failures and lessons. Health ritual. Exercise and nutrition at consistent times daily. Rituals create structure, and structure builds mastery. The power of delayed gratification. Self-mastery is ultimately about controlling impulses. The greatest test is delayed gratification. The ability to sacrifice a small pleasure now for a greater reward later. Every time you delay gratification, you strengthen discipline. Every time you indulge in instant gratification, you weaken it. Ask yourself in moments of temptation, will this decision serve my future, or only my present? The enemy of mastery. Distractions. We live in an age of distraction. Notifications, entertainment, and endless options pull your attention in 100 directions. The undisciplined mind drowns in noise. Self-mastery demands ruthless control over your environment. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Limit time on entertainment. Design a workspace free from clutter. Use tools like focus timers to keep you on track. If you control your environment, you control your actions. The daily self-mastery checklist. Did I control my body today? Sleep, food, exercise. Did I control my thoughts today? Focus, positivity, awareness. Did I control my emotions today? Calm, patience, resilience. Did I act in line with my purpose? Yes or no? By answering these questions daily, you hold yourself accountable. The reward of self-mastery. The greatest reward of discipline is freedom. When you master yourself, you free yourself from laziness and procrastination. Free yourself from emotional swings and self-sabotage. Free yourself from emotional swings and self-sabotage. Free yourself from distraction and wasted time. Free yourself to create the life you truly want. Self-mastery is not a destination. It is a lifelong practice. But with every act of mastery, your discipline grows stronger, and your success becomes inevitable. Chapter 7. Strategic Discipline. Designing a life you cannot escape from. Discipline is not only about forcing yourself into action. It is about creating an environment, structure, and strategy that makes success almost inevitable. Many people fail not because they lack motivation, but because their lives are designed in a way that makes discipline difficult and temptation easy. Strategic discipline is the science of building systems that keep you moving forward, even when willpower runs low. The limits of willpower. Willpower is like a muscle. It tires with overuse. If your entire success depends on waking up each day and forcing yourself to be disciplined, eventually fatigue will win. Strategic discipline solves this problem by reducing the need for constant willpower. Think of it this way: a disciplined person doesn't just have more self-control. They have fewer temptations, fewer decisions, and fewer chances to quit. They design their life so the path of least resistance is the path of discipline. System versus motivation. Motivation is emotional. It comes and goes. Systems are structural. They remain no matter how you feel. For example, motivation says, "I'll try to eat healthy today." A system says, "I don't keep junk food in my house." Motivation says, "I'll try to wake up early." A system says, "My phone charges across the room. My alarm is set. And my coffee pot is automatic." Strategic discipline is about replacing fragile motivation with bulletproof systems, designing your environment for discipline. Your environment either supports your discipline or destroys it. Strategic discipline begins by mastering your surroundings. Remove temptations. If you don't want to waste time, delete distracting apps, block time-wasting websites, and put the TV remote in a drawer. Add triggers for success. Keep books on your desk instead of your phone. Place your gym shoes by the door at night, so you can't miss them in the morning. Simplified choices. The fewer decisions you make, the stronger your discipline becomes. Steve Jobs wore the same outfit daily, not because he lacked taste, but because he eliminated decision fatigue. Upgrade your circle. Surround yourself with disciplined people, and your own discipline will rise. When you master your environment, discipline stops being a constant battle and starts becoming the default option. The power of structure. A structured life is a disciplined life. If your day has no clear plan, distractions and impulses will always win. Strategic discipline requires strict control of your time. Time blocking. Divide your day into dedicated blocks for deep work, shallow work, exercise, rest, and reflection. Fixed routines. Anchor your day with consistent wake-up and sleep times. Pre-commitment. Decide your next day's plan the night before, leaving no space for hesitation. Priority rules. Identify your top 3 tasks daily and complete them before anything else. Without structure, even the most disciplined mind drifts. With structure, even an average person can perform at elite levels. Automating discipline through habits. Habits are discipline on autopilot. Once something becomes habit, you no longer fight yourself to do it. It happens naturally. Start small. Build micro habits first. Reading 5 minutes daily is easier to sustain than 1 hour. Stack habits. Attach new habits to old ones. For example, after brushing your teeth, write down 1 goal for the day. Use cues. Train your brain to associate certain triggers with action. Music, locations, or times can act as discipline signals. Track progress. Use a journal or app to visually measure streaks, Progress builds momentum. Habits free you from relying on fragile bursts of willpower. The strategy of energy management. Discipline is not just about time management. It's about energy management. If you use your best hours on meaningless tasks, you sabotage your discipline. Protect your prime hours. Do your most important work when your energy is highest, often in the morning. Guard your attention. Distractions drain more energy than they appear to. Protect your focus like gold. Cycle work and rest. Follow the rhythm of work sprints and recovery. Push too long without breaks, and discipline collapses. Health first. Sleep, diet, and exercise are the batteries of discipline. Without energy, strategy fails. Strategic discipline means aligning your most disciplined hours with your most important tasks. Pre-commitment. Discipline before the decision. One of the most powerful tools of strategic discipline is pre-commitment, removing your future option to quit. Examples. Tabisatu commitment. Pay for the course, gym membership or event in advance. You are more likely to show up when money is at stake. Public commitment. Announce your goal to friends or social media. Accountability forces follow through. Irreversible actions. Delete apps, cancel subscriptions, or throw away junk food, so your future self has no choice but to act with discipline. Pre-commitment means you've already decided you don't negotiate with yourself later. Discipline by design. The strategic life framework. Imagine designing your life as if you were designing a machine. Every part has a function. Every system has a purpose. Every decision has been made in advance. That's strategic discipline. Ask yourself, does my environment push me towards success? Does my daily structure eliminate wasted time? Do my habits automate progress? Do I pre-commit to important actions? Do I protect my energy for my best work? If your answer is yes to these questions, discipline is no longer a daily fight. It becomes a lifestyle. The real secret. Make discipline easier than quitting. The most successful people don't wake up each morning fighting a war with themselves. They win because their systems make discipline easier than failure. They don't negotiate with their future selves. They don't rely on mood. They don't gamble with willpower. Their life is designed in such a way that the most natural, obvious, automatic choice is the disciplined one. This is the essence of strategic discipline. Not just forcing yourself into action, but designing a life where action becomes inevitable. Chapter 6. Self-mastery. The highest form of discipline. The greatest enemy you will ever face is not the economy, your competition, or even other people. It is yourself. Every battle of discipline is a battle between the weaker version of you that seeks comfort and the stronger version of you that seeks growth. To master discipline, you must master yourself. Self-mastery is the ability to control your thoughts, emotions, habits, and actions in alignment with your greater goals. It is the foundation of true freedom, because until you control yourself, you will always be a prisoner to your impulses. Why most people fail at self-mastery. Most people do not fail because they lack intelligence or opportunity. They fail because they cannot control themselves. They know what to do but don't do it. They allow their emotions to dictate their decision. They are slaves to distractions and instant gratification. They want success, but they serve comfort instead. Without self-mastery, knowledge and talent are wasted. With it, even ordinary people achieve extraordinary results. The layers of self-mastery. Think of self-mastery as 4 interdependent layers. Mastering the body, controlling physical habits like sleep, diet, exercise and energy management. Mastering the mind, directing focus, thoughts, and inner dialogue toward productive outcome. Mastering emotions, managing feelings, instead of letting feelings manage you. Mastering the body, the physical foundation of discipline. Your body is the vehicle of your will. If it is weak, tired, or undisciplined, your mind suffers. Discipline starts with taking control of your physical state. Deva, sleep discipline. Set strict bedtimes and wake-up time. A tired mind cannot focus. Exercise. Train your body to be resilient. Physical strength fuels mental strength. Nutrition. Junk food clouds your clarity. Eating clean sharpens your focus. Energy cycles. Work with your body's rhythms. Do deep work when energy is highest. By mastering the body, you gain the stamina needed to sustain disciplined action. Mastering the mind. The battle of focus. The human mind is naturally restless. Left uncontrolled, it jumps from thought to thought, distraction to distraction. Discipline requires you to tame the mind and direct it with intention. Bhava, focus training. Practice concentrating deeply on one task for extended periods. Thought, awareness. Catch negative or self-sabotaging thoughts before they spiral. Mental rehearsal. Visualize success and discipline in action. And information control. Limit toxic inputs. News, gossip, social media that weaken focus. A mastered mind is like a laser, powerful because it is focused, not scattered. Mastering emotions. Control the storm within. Your emotions can be your greatest ally or your greatest enemy. Fear can protect you, or it can paralyze you. Anger can drive change, or it can destroy relationships. Discipline requires that you ride the wave of emotions, without being drowned by them. Tools for emotional mastery. Deva, breathing control. Use slow, deliberate breaths to calm the nervous system. Pause and reflect. Create space before reacting to strong feeling. Emotional reframing. Turn setbacks into opportunities for growth. Deva, detachment. Remind yourself that emotions are temporary visitors, not permanent truths. When you master your emotions, you gain power over the one thing that ruins discipline for most people. Mastering purpose. Living with direction. Without purpose, discipline feels like punishment. With purpose, discipline feels like freedom. Self-mastery requires knowing your why, the reason behind your actions. Define what success means to you, not what society dictates. Write down your long-term vision and revisit it daily. Use your purpose as fuel when discipline feels hard. Purpose is the compass that makes every disciplined act meaningful. The trap of self-sabotage. Even highly motivated people often sabotage themselves. They overcommit and then quit. Set unrealistic expectations and burn out. Seek perfection and avoid progress. Distract themselves the moment things get difficult. Self-mastery means catching these patterns early and replacing them with discipline. For example, instead of setting a vague goal like "I'll work harder," create a specific habit like "I'll spend 90 minutes on my most important task every morning." Self-mastery through routines and rituals. The easiest way to master yourself is to reduce reliance on willpower. Routines make discipline automatic. Morning ritual. Begin the day with reflection, planning, and intentional action. Work ritual. Block time for deep, focused work. Evening ritual. Review wins, failures and lessons. Health ritual. Exercise and nutrition at consistent times daily. Rituals create structure, and structure builds mastery. The power of delayed gratification. Self-mastery is ultimately about controlling impulses. The greatest test is delayed gratification. The ability to sacrifice a small pleasure now for a greater reward later. Every time you delay gratification, you strengthen discipline. Every time you indulge in instant gratification, you weaken it. Ask yourself in moments of temptation, will this decision serve my future, or only my present? The enemy of mastery. Distractions. We live in an age of distraction. Notifications, entertainment, and endless options pull your attention in 100 directions. The undisciplined mind drowns in noise. Self-mastery demands ruthless control over your environment. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Limit time on entertainment. Design a workspace free from clutter. Use tools like focus timers to keep you on track. If you control your environment, you control your actions. The daily self-mastery checklist. Did I control my body today? Sleep, food, exercise. Did I control my thoughts today? Focus, positivity, awareness. Did I control my emotions today? Calm, patience, resilience. Did I act in line with my purpose? Yes or no? By answering these questions daily, you hold yourself accountable. The reward of self-mastery. The greatest reward of discipline is freedom. When you master yourself, you free yourself from laziness and procrastination. Free yourself from emotional swings and self-sabotage. Free yourself from emotional swings and self-sabotage. Free yourself from distraction and wasted time. Free yourself to create the life you truly want. Self-mastery is not a destination. It is a lifelong practice. But with every act of mastery, your discipline grows stronger, and your success becomes inevitable.
Chapter 8.
The compound power of discipline. How small acts create greatness. Success is rarely the result of one big breakthrough. It is almost always the result of countless small, consistent, disciplined actions that build on each other over time. Just as a single drop of water seems powerless, but repeated drops can carve stone. Daily discipline may look small in the moment, but becomes unstoppable when compounded over weeks, months, and years. The most powerful truth about discipline is this: it grows like interest. The longer you practice it, the more it multiplies, and the more it multiplies, the easier it becomes. The law of compounding. Albert Einstein once called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. What most people don't realize is that discipline follows the same principle. Do one disciplined act today, and you improve slightly. Do the same disciplined act tomorrow and you improve again. But also reinforce the identity of being a disciplined person. Continue for months, and not only are you skilled, you've built unshakable momentum. The compounding effect means that the results you see in the beginning may seem small, but the longer you sustain discipline, the more exponential your growth becomes. Small wins build big identities. Every disciplined act is a vote for the type of person you want to become. When you choose to work out, even if it's just for 20 minutes, you are not just exercising, you are reinforcing the belief: I am the kind of person who takes care of my health. When you choose to read instead of scrolling social media, you are voting for the identity: I am a learner, not a time waster. Over time, these votes accumulate. Just as elections are not decided by one vote but by many, your identity is not shaped by one choice, but by thousands of disciplined actions, stacked together. This identity shift is where the real compounding power begins. Because once you see yourself as disciplined, you stop fighting yourself. Momentum. The hidden force of discipline. Momentum is the invisible engine of discipline. At first, getting started feels heavy, like pushing a stalled car uphill. But once you've built enough motion, the effort becomes easier and easier, and the results grow faster and faster. Day 1 discipline. Feels hard, requires full willpower. Day 10 discipline. Feels routine, slightly easier. Day 100 discipline. Feels natural. Momentum does the heavy lifting. Think of a rocket launch. Most of the fuel is burned just to leave the ground. Once in orbit, it takes far less energy to keep moving. The same is true of discipline. The hardest part is the beginning. Once momentum is built, discipline feels almost effortless. The discipline, confidence feedback loop. Another compounding effect of discipline is the confidence it builds. Each time you follow through on a disciplined act, you strengthen your trust in yourself. You prove that you are reliable. This creates a feedback loop. Discipline leads to progress. Progress builds confidence. Confidence makes discipline easier. Easier discipline creates more progress. Over time, this cycle transforms not only your results, but also your belief system. You stop wondering, can I do it? And start thinking, I know I can handle anything. Discipline across multiple areas. The compounding effect of discipline doesn't stay locked in one area. It spills over into all areas of your life. If you build discipline in fitness, you often develop more discipline in business. If you build discipline in money management, you often find more discipline in relationships. If you build discipline in learning, you sharpen your discipline in decision making. Discipline is a transferable skill. Once you've trained yourself to stay consistent in one domain, you've built the mental muscle to apply it anywhere. This cross-pollination accelerates compounding results. Time magnifies discipline, and in discipline, time is either your greatest ally or your greatest enemy, depending on how you use it. A few small discipline choices today may not seem powerful, but time magnifies them. The same is true of undisciplined choices. Consider two people. Person A saves $10 a day and invests it. After 10 years, they have tens of thousands of dollars. After 20 years, they have hundreds of thousands. Person B spends $10 a day on unnecessary things. After 10 years, they are broke and deeper in debt. Both lives diverged, not from one big event, but from small daily actions compounded over time. Discipline is a long game, and time always reveals who has played it wisely. The irreversibility of compounded discipline. The beauty of compounding discipline is that after a certain point, it becomes almost impossible to lose. Once you have built a track record of years of disciplined habits, you carry momentum, skills, confidence, and identity that cannot easily be destroyed. A disciplined writer who has written every day for years can't imagine a life without writing. A disciplined athlete who has trained for a decade doesn't just stop training, is part of who they are. A disciplined entrepreneur who has built systems for years, has created multiple income streams, and doesn't go back to scarcity. Once discipline compounds, your baseline of life is permanently elevated. The secret of extraordinary people. When you look at extraordinary people, world-class athletes, billionaire entrepreneurs, influential leaders, it's easy to believe they are superhuman. But when you strip away the surface, what you see is simple years, often decades, of disciplined action compounding into extraordinary outcomes. They aren't extraordinary because of one magical act. They are extraordinary because of thousands of ordinary disciplined acts, done consistently over time. The truth is this: discipline doesn't just add to your life, it multiplies. Building your compound discipline strategy to harness the compounding power of discipline. Start small. Think long-term. Don't chase immediate results. Focus on stacking daily wins. Measure progress. Track habits, streaks or milestones to visualize compounding growth. Reinvest discipline. Use progress in one area to fuel discipline in another. Stay patient. Remember, compounding looks small in the short term, but massive in the long term. Guard the chain. Missing once is normal. Missing twice risks breaking momentum. Protect the chain at all costs. The unstoppable force. When you understand discipline as a compounding force, you stop worrying about instant results, and instead focus on consistent, deliberate action. Every workout, every book read, every focused hour, every dollar saved, every temptation resisted, they all compound into a life that looks radically different from those who never practice discipline. What starts as a daily act of self-control transforms into a tidal wave of success, momentum, and confidence that no obstacle can stop. This is the true power of discipline. Not just to move you forward today, but to multiply your entire future. Chapter 9. Discipline as Anti-Fragility. Growing stronger through struggle. Most people see challenges as obstacles. They complain about pressure, setbacks or failures, thinking that these are signs they should stop. But the truth is this: the very struggles you try to avoid are the ones that hold the key to your growth. Without resistance, muscles don't grow. Without heat, gold isn't purified. Without challenges, discipline never matures. The disciplined mind doesn't just survive challenges, it thrives because of them. This is what makes discipline a form of anti-fragility. To be fragile is to break under pressure. To be resilient is to withstand pressure. But to be anti-fragile is to actually get stronger because of the pressure. And this is exactly what happens when you commit to a life of discipline. The difference between the average and the disciplined. An undisciplined person looks at obstacles as unfair interruptions. A disciplined person sees them as training ground. Imagine two people facing the same setback: a failed project, a financial loss, or rejection. The average person reacts emotionally, spirals into self-pity, and wastes energy on complaints. The disciplined person pauses, evaluates, adapts, and comes back sharper. Discipline is the habit of controlling your response. It gives you a buffer between event and reaction. Without it, life feels chaotic. With it, you turn every challenge into fuel for growth. Pain is the teacher. Avoiding pain is natural, but if you want lasting success, you must understand that pain is feedback. It tells you where you're weak, what needs improvement, and where growth is waiting. When you discipline your mind, you stop seeing pain as an enemy and start seeing it as a coach. Think of an athlete training for competition. Muscles tear during practice. Exhaustion sets in. Failures happen. Yet, through all of that, strength builds. The same principle applies to your life. Every painful delay, rejection or hardship can make you stronger if you remain disciplined enough not to quit. Discipline creates mental armor. Life will test you. Opportunities will be delayed. People will misunderstand you. Plans will fall apart. The undisciplined mind cracks under this weight. But with discipline you develop mental armor. This doesn't mean you won't feel disappointment. It means you won't let it define you. Instead of saying this is the end, you say, this is training. Instead of shrinking, you expand. Instead of being consumed by the storm, you learn to stand in it with stability. Practical strategies for anti-fragile discipline. Push through one more rep at the gym. Each act of controlled discomfort trains your brain to handle pressure calmly. Reframe setbacks immediately. The moment something goes wrong, ask, how is this shaping me for better results in the future? This simple mental shift keeps you from wasting energy on self-pity. Track recovery, not just progress. Discipline isn't only about grinding. It's also about bouncing back. Keep a journal of how quickly you recover from mistakes or failures. Over time you'll notice your comeback speed increasing. Anchor yourself in purpose. When setbacks come, only those with a strong why can keep moving. If you know what you're working toward, no obstacle can completely stop you. The compounding effect of anti-fragility. Here's the most powerful part. The longer you practice discipline, the stronger you get. Every setback you've endured becomes stored strength. Every disappointment becomes a lesson. Every rejection adds resilience. Over time your discipline turns you into someone who not only withstands chaos, but grows because of it. The average person spends life trying to avoid storms. The disciplined person walks through storms and comes out the other side with scars that prove strength. When your mind is trained in discipline, you stop being fragile. You stop merely surviving. You rise above circumstances, using every difficulty as leverage to push yourself further. That's the ultimate reward of discipline. It makes you unbreakable, unstoppable, and anti-fragile. Chapter 10. Total Mastery. Living a life of disciplined freedom. Discipline is not just about finishing tasks or following routines. It is about mastering yourself so completely that you become the kind of person who cannot be shaken, distracted, or easily broken. This final step is not about short bursts of discipline. It is about embodying it until it becomes your very identity. The true goal of discipline is freedom. At first that may sound contradictory. How can rules, structure, and control lead to freedom? But think deeper. When you are disciplined, you are no longer controlled by your impulses, your distractions, or the opinions of others. You are in control. You decide where your energy goes. You decide what gets your attention. You decide who you become. That is the highest form of freedom a person can have, to live intentionally rather than reactively. The discipline, freedom paradox. People often believe freedom comes from doing whatever they want, eat when they want, spend when they want, sleep when they want. But that is not freedom. That is enslavement to impulse. True freedom is when you say no to what weakens you and yes to what strengthens you. It is when you have the inner power to rise early, to finish hard things, to delay pleasure, and to focus relentlessly on your vision. Think about the wealthiest, healthiest, most fulfilled people you know of. They are not slaves to laziness or distraction. They live with structure, habits, and high standard. Their lives may look disciplined from the outside, but inside, they enjoy incredible freedom. The freedom of time, energy, and peace of mind. The identity shift. By now you understand that discipline is more than a set of practices. It is an identity shift. The goal is not just to do disciplined things, but to be a disciplined person. This means that your default response to challenges is focus. Your natural instinct is persistence. Your automatic reaction to opportunities is preparation. You no longer rely on motivation to push you. You rely on identity. You don't ask yourself, do I feel like it? You ask, what would the disciplined version of me do right now? Then you act accordingly. When you reach this level, you stop battling with yourself every day. The war between laziness and action fades because discipline becomes who you are, building systems that outlast you. Great leaders, thinkers, and entrepreneurs don't just live disciplined lives. They build systems of discipline that continue even without them. This is the next level of mastery. A disciplined entrepreneur builds a business that thrives without their constant presence. A disciplined leader builds a team with habits of accountability and excellence. A disciplined parent raises children who carry self-control and responsibility into the next generation. Your discipline has the power to ripple outward, shaping not just your life, but the lives of countless others. The power of endurance. Discipline over weeks brings progress. Discipline over months builds transformation. But discipline over years creates legacies. The people remembered in history books are not those who lived in bursts of passion, but those who endured. They practiced discipline daily, whether they were seen or unseen, applauded or criticized. Endurance is the ultimate measure of discipline. Can you keep going when the excitement fades? Can you stay consistent when the results are slow? Can you still rise and put in the work after years of setbacks? Those who can endure, those who are unshaken by time, become unstoppable. Practical steps to lifelong discipline. Daily non-negotiables. Anchor your day with habits that keep you grounded, no matter what happens. Environment design. Build spaces that support your focus and remove triggers for distraction. Accountability systems. Surround yourself with people or tools that keep you honest when discipline wavers. Purpose alignment. Always tie your discipline to your higher purpose. It is easier to endure when you know why you are enduring. Constant renewal. Review your routines, reset your goals, and realign your actions regularly. Discipline is not static. It evolves with you. The disciplined life. At the highest level, discipline no longer feels like effort. It feels like alignment. You are aligned with your vision, your values, and your destiny. Every decision you make, every habit you build, every moment you live reflects the truth that you are the master of your mind, and therefore the master of your life. This is not about perfection. Discipline does not mean you never fail. It means you never give up. It means you rise each time stronger, sharper, and more determined. It means you create a life that cannot be stolen by laziness, fear, or distraction. And so the real measure of success is not how much you achieve, but how much of yourself you master. Master your mind, and success will follow you naturally.